Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome to episode 52 of my Factorio Space Age Guide. So in the last episode, we set up some defensive walls for our base. We also set up some collection chests around to make sure that we can have some stuff for when we leave the planet, and if we need to bring some stuff with us. So at the end of the last episode, I made my power armor, and I don't know, I must have had the old power armor. I never actually clicked on the new power armor, so we did end up having room for 5 roboports, 5 exoskeletons, and 2 of the portable fission reactors, so I went ahead and set those up. I also kind of set up what we needed to bring with us to the outside train stations that we will be setting up along the perimeter. I also said in the last episode that I'd be off camera going through and checking this area out. It ended up not really being helpful at all, so it was kind of a waste, but whatever. It is what it is. So before we get going, I kind of want to correct this, and this is going to be kind of a pain, but we're going to do it. And I think I have these to trash. I do not have them trash under requested. I have these set to trash and requested. Okay, so I suppose we can. I'll just go ahead and do it. That's kind of going to be a little bit of a pain, but you know what? It is what it is. So we want to utilize both sides. Initially I was thinking, okay, well, if we had multiple chests bringing in multiple items, then we could just do it up that way, but we kind of need each item to have its own chest. Thankfully, the amount of items that we need are less than the amount of chests that we have, so I think maybe to make it visually easier, we're going to filter the inserters. That will make it easier to set up both here and at the train station that we end up going to. So let me get some power for these. Wow, that was quite quite the wiring setup that we got going on there. All right, now that we got that out of the way, almost. That's good enough. Whatever. Okay, so we're gonna filter these, and I am just gonna kind of go in order of what we want. So we want some construction bots, not twice. We want some logistics bots and mostly construction bots. We want some chests. We want some inserters. I think initially I was going to do fast inserters, but let's just go with the bulk ones. Like, why not? Roboports. And we want room in, like, because we want multiple items in multiple areas because of how many items, like I can't have just one be walls. I'm gonna have to mix in walls on both cargo wagons. So I will set this one up for walls. Wait, nope, abort. Filter. We'll set that one up for walls, and we'll set this one down here for walls too. Let's go with some gates, because we kind of want things that we want a lot of, or more than one stack of, and kind of like mixed into both. And we will filter the train as well, so you will see kind of what I mean whenever we get to that point. So we have gates. Let's get some radars. We have multiple stacks of bots and multiple stacks of roboports. So let's get something down here that has multiple stacks. Because we'll want 2 stacks of laser turrets and 2 stacks of flamethrowers. Okay, what else do we need? We need some train-related stuff. Rails. And we'll do the signals up here. These are going to be single items. We want some pipes, and we want, underground pipes and pumps. We need some big electric power poles. Okay, what else do we need? Let's take a look at our blueprint. Okay, so we have all of this covered. And what else do we need? We don't need train stations because I'm going to have the train station on me. Same with the train and... Oh, we need some repair packs. And we need some landfill. I think that might be everything. I'm going to bring some combinators with me. Some elevated rails with me. We don't need anything from this list at all. Except the repair packs. Okay, so that gives us, what is this? 6, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21? 21 items? So these can just remain empty for now. We're actually going to want to have at least one. I guess we can set up all 3. Or stuff that we're going to be bringing back with us. What might we be bringing back with us? So we're going to put some active providers down because we are going to also filter the train to collect any wood from the trees that are going to be inevitably cut down, as well as stone and potentially coal. Yes, those are things that we will inevitably be collecting from wherever we put our train stations. Okay, so we're going to wait for the bots to queue this up. I don't think I can get into this train yet until it is crafted. And we don't need to filter these for any kind of quantity. We will filter the train cargo wagons for the quantities. So for instance, if we middle mouse click, we can set a specific item. So let's say construction bots, and we're going to shift right click and left click. I do not need that one. 1 stack of logistics bots. And then let's just go through the list. 1 stack of each of these. This. I saw an inserter. Bulk inserter. Roboports, we want 3 stacks. Landfill, we want 3 stacks. That might be enough. Maybe, maybe not. Big electric power poles, we want at least 2 stacks. I'm going to maybe leave some room temporarily just in case we want to add some more. What do we want? 3 stacks? 2 stacks? We're going to use 12. Okay, well, I mean, we don't really need that many. We could probably get away with maybe 1. So we'll keep that in mind. Maybe 1. What else? 1 of each of these. 3. And then that leaves us walls and potentially landfill. So let's just add the landfill here. And we can do the walls here. You know what? It actually would have been nice to not have one of these up here, since we could have put a second wall over here. because we don't really need 3 active providers. We could just do 2. All right, well, let's fill this one up and we can kind of figure out what we want from there. All right, so we need pipes. We need underground pipes. We're going to bring a couple of stacks of those. We need pumps. Pipes, underground pipes, pumps, repair packs. We want a couple of stacks of those. Rails, I think we want maybe 3. Like, that's kind of overkill. We don't really need... We probably won't even need any, but... 2 of each of these, 1 of this. And then some walls. I think that covered everything. I am probably missing something, and you know what? It is what it is. So let's do 1,000 walls, and then we're gonna leave this section mostly for wood. Coal can go here, and stone here. So the reason why we're filtering this for stuff that we're going to be picking up is so that we don't clog it with, like, if we didn't have this filtered, then all of this stuff would try to fill up here first and then try to be placed into these sections, but we need to make sure that we have enough room to return with them. And I could adjust these too. Like, if this isn't good enough, then we could definitely adjust those. So as far as the train group goes, so we have a novice solid train group and we have a volcanist solid train group. We could actually just create a train group that, let's say, like military solid train. So that way, once we set this up, once we drop our planet and ask what, or drop our blueprint and ask what planet we want to go to, we could say we want the military planet. I mean, this is kind of janky, but whatever, it is what it is. So we're going to add in shunting. We're going to kind of leave it the same way that we have other train groups. What I mean by that is I have a train groups. Train groups are set up over here. Like, this is a blueprint for train groups. So I have a shunting, and then I have a provider interrupt and a requester interrupt. So we can do the same thing with that. We can do like a, let's say, military provider interrupt. And this is going to be kind of funky because we're going to want to, thankfully we have a visual of everything that we need with the filters here. We want to add an item for each, like a section for each one of these items, because we're going to be tracking, kind of more or less tracking them individually. So we want this train to go to this if, let's say we're going to do item count. And I really wish that I could copy this and paste it, or like if there is something that you can do. I honestly don't know what it is, but it would be nice to just be able to like copy and paste these instead of having to go, okay, I need 20 or 21 or whatever it is of item count. Nope, that is not what I wanted. Item count, item count. And you will find that this whole like, man, I really wish I could copy and paste some of these. Like, you'll find a lot of that throughout the game because the space platforms work the exact same way as the trains. So, yeah. Okay, so let's just go through the list. Landfill, big electric power poles. I know these are kind of like oddly spread out. We can leave walls. Yeah, we can just do one for walls now. That's fine. Bots. I I don't really want to track the bots, and there's a good reason why. So we're kind of gonna omit those. Like, there's no reason why the bots should run out unless there's like heavy damage, they're being attacked, the biters are invading, and the bots are trying to repair the walls. But we're not going to track these because the tracking that we're going to be doing with these is going to be through the roboport and not through the chests. Yeah, so we're not going to add those in. Okay, so provider, most of these, I would say 90%, like almost all of these, will never even come close to meeting these conditions. We just want to be 100% sure. Roboports. We need pipes, underground pipes, pumps, repair pack, flamethrower, laser turret, radar. Oh, cool. I missed one. Okay, so these are all going to be ores. So we will convert all of those. And we are aiming for this to be, we're going to have these set up that if the item is less than 0, because what's going to end up happening is we are going to bring a constant combinator and a decider combinator with us that will kind of make it so that once we reach a certain value, so we're going to set, for instance, the constant combinator to be, I don't know, let's say like -5 for this. So once we get to 5, it will now equal 0 because the constant combinator is going to be a -5, which will be subtracting from the total. So we're going to have 50 of these. The constant combinator is going to show that we have 45. So once we, for instance, lose 45 of these, we will be at 0. And once we lose a 46th item, it will drop to -1 and then request in the, like send the signal out, kind of. No. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. These are going to be equals 0. Okay, this is the inside of the train. I'm thinking about sending out the signal from the train station that we're heading to. So yeah, a little bit of mental like preview for you. Okay, so if any of these inside the train cargo equals 0, you need to leave. You could set this for a certain value, like, oh, if the landfill in my train ever gets to like less than 50, then hey, you need to head out. But then at that point, it would have been like, okay, well, you should have just set it to 250 instead of 300 or 5. Nope, do not discard. Or 500 or whatever it was. Like, so, okay, once we run out, head back. And the train station in question is going to be the military provider, which is the one that we have right here. And wait condition is going to just be an activity. We'll set this to like 15 seconds. So if you have been here waiting for 15 seconds and nothing is happening, just take off. Save interrupt. The next interrupt will be, let's say, piercing round ammo or military requester chest. I did not need a space there. Let's call this military requester chest. And the interrupt condition is going to be this signal that I was referring to. If the circuit signal of, let's just use the piercing round ammo, is greater than 0, because we will set it to be a 1. Interrupt condition. We should set an interrupt condition, but I'm probably not too worried about it. Has cargo. I don't know if I want to do full cargo. Yeah, we can just do full cargo. So interrupt if you have full cargo and there is a piercing round magazine. And we are going to a train station that has not been created yet, which is going to be piercing round and requester chest. And we can just do inactivity again. Wait condition inactivity. Let's say 15 seconds again. So what that means is that its default location will be shunting. Because of the way that we have this set up, it's very possible that it could go to the shunting yard without being empty. It could be full of items going to the shunting yard, but that's okay. We're gonna have a very limited number of these, like maybe 2, maybe 3, possibly like I think maybe 3 tops. And they can just sit at the shunting station. Like it doesn't really matter. Like if you know, let's say that we had a death world and the different train stations were constantly being attacked by biters, the walls were being constantly attacked by biters, then this would work out. So I think when you're in this, we can nudge this for. No, I'm not gonna worry about it. Do I have? I have these. I'm gonna place a single rocket fuel in here, and I am gonna tell this to go to this train station here. And then I'm going to set it to manual because I want to make sure that all of this is going to set up right before we head out. Another thing that we're going to do is I'm going to trash unrequested. I don't want anything in my inventory. We're going to completely remove everything, let's say most everything, and bring in different items that we can use to kind of speed this along and help us set all this up. I'm just going to plop myself in the middle of the mall. We're going to make a new section. I don't know. We call it military outposting. We definitely want rails, and we want a lot of rails. Like I'm going to say at least 3,000. And actually to kind of accommodate that and help us move that along, I think I might add some of these. Add this over here. Nope, I need to face that way. Make sure to filter it. And you can just fill up. I don't know what this is set at over here. I think it's like 1,000. Look, we're already emptying that out. So that's set to 1,000. This one, where did it go? I can just limit this one to, I don't know, like 2,000. We don't necessarily care if anything goes back in here. As a matter of fact, we could have just made this a red chest. That way nothing does come back in here. Also, if push comes to shove and we're struggling to create stuff for our purple science, we could just flip this in reverse and have it placing back onto the belt. I'm not too concerned about that right now. What else do we need? We need a lot of big electric power poles. I'm going to say at least a couple hundred. I'm just going to do 300 for now. We need some substations too. Why do we need substations? We need substations because we are going to need to place some pump jacks. I'm just going to do 2 stacks of that. And with pump jacks, we need pipes and we need underground pipes. So I'm going to add 100. Now let's do 200 for myself and pumps and definitely some ramps. Let's do 2 stacks of the ramps. Let's do 3 stacks of the elevated rails. Train station, yes. Put some of these and these. We need some personal robots. We can use up to, I believe, 50. This is 10 apiece. 10 robots per, so we can actually utilize a full stack of robots now, which is great. Oh man, it is so nice once we start upgrading these. I think also, as you... It's not going to show my personal space. I'm not 100% sure, but I kind of feel like as you start adding these, I think it increases the radius or the distance that you can create with the robots. Okay, what else do we need? I suppose we could bring some roboports ourselves. Oh, combinators. I need at least, let's say, 5 of the deciders and 5 of the constants. I don't need arithmetic, don't need selector. Maybe need some storage, some fluid storage. I think that was one of the filters that I was going to have for the train, but now that I think about it, we're definitely not going to need this. Okay, I think we are set. Yeah, I'm not going to need anything else. We will need some radars, but... Okay, it looks like we are completely full. You know, let's make this 4,000. I've got the extra space. Why not? And we already have 1,000 on the way. Go us. Man, I love the bots. The bots make life so much easier. They must be coming from down here. Or not. Come on, guys. You can do this. Could have just gone and gotten it myself. $38, $39. Come on. 4K. Let's go. Okay, so now we're at 4,000. All right, we are 27 minutes into this. This is going to end up being a little bit longer of an episode, but that's okay. So to kind of speed this along, I'm going to kind of like skip this section. I'll just like speed it up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hop in the train and I'm going to, oh, I forgot this other section. No. All right, one last thing that we need to do real quick. I initially wasn't going to make like an L section for the rails because we were just going to either use the T intersection or the full intersection. But because of the way this lined up, like, where did my straight rail go? I didn't want to have this come through here. It felt too wrong to have it like that. So I wanted to have it come through here instead. So I'm going to make an L here. And I'm actually going to place these in. I'm going to remove whatever I just placed and shift deconstruct those to kind of make them come back. That is not going to work. I need a little bit more space. So like that. And that is it. That is our L. Easy. Alright, so let's make a blueprint out of this real quick. I'm going to catch the roboports because that will help us line it up. And then I'm going to remove the roboports. Remove the little extra sections, and we are going to need to snap this to grid 96 by 96. And this is going to be, we can use the roboports to kind of guide us. Why do I have, oh no, why do I have, oh, did I accidentally flip it? Oh, I accidentally flipped the baby city block. Oh no. All right, whatever, it is what it is. Okay, so let's create that and see if no, okay, that wasn't even close. Let's place that there. And let's just make this 0, 0. That'll get us kind of close. Nailed it. All right. So we can use that in the future. Okay, so I am, like I said, I'm going to go take the train. I'm going to go over here. Look at the baby city block. No. You guys know this is going to drive me crazy if I don't fix this. Thankfully it didn't go very far. Okay, that's good. Oh, and actually it was only doubled up in some areas. Okay, so um, I am going to speed task this real quick, and I will see you on the flip side after we have made our uh, next train station. And we're back. Okay, so what do we need? I turned off alt again. Yeah, so that took a bit of time to get out here, but we are here. We have a blueprint set down. There's a couple things we need to do. First, we need to set up this train station. We also need to set up pump jacks over here. Yeah, it was kind of funny. I forgot to set up every single one of the requester chests over at our provider, but you know what? It is what it is. I can cut some of that out. Anyways, I need some roboports. I need some inserters, some chests. Yeah, so the way this is going to end up working is the roboports. We do not need to. Okay, I don't want to trash and request it. I want all of this to stay. So the roboports we're going to line up with the second part of. Wait, why did you? Hold on. What? All right. right, that could have been bad. Anyways. Yeah, so this is going to filter for construction bots. And okay. Actually, let's just do this. Because I have all of these filtered over here, I can just copy all of these and paste them over here. And that will be how we need to have these lined up. I don't know why these did not. Oh, because they were turned the wrong way. So this one is construction bots. Construction bots. And this one is logistics bots. The ones that are exporting the materials that we don't want can just get a regular chest. That way they can, and unfiltered as well. That way the bots can just start dumping whatever they need into these. The rest of them will get providers, passive providers. We are going to need power. I do not want to set those up with power yet. So, let me get the rope boards down. I do not need these two either. These are going to be directly feeding into the RoboPort. And the RoboPort is going to be connected to both. I want red wiring. The RoboPort is connecting into both of these and reading robot statistics. And the construction bots, we're going to enable this if, what is it, T? Construction bots. Enable if T is less than 150. So this is how we're going to limit the bots. We're going to use the RoboPort to do that. Logibots, I think, is Y. Enable if Y is less than 50. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and do that for each of these. We're basically limiting by the amount that we want in here, or that we have, just to kind of keep things easy. Now, okay, before I even get to that point, we do not even need to connect these with the circuit network. I only did the wiring for this one because it just kind of works better with the bots. We can technically just add each of these to the logistics network. That will make sure that anything in our logistics network, which is purely limited to this section. So this is the only section that this network is going to be a part of. So it will read any storage, any logistics storage that is just in this area, because we do not have a chain of RoboPorts connecting out here. Any of the signaling will just be done with a radar, which is in one of these chests. So our signals will be sent with the radar. We will have a constant combinator and a decider combinator to do some functions for us. But yeah, so these are going to be set up via the logistics network. And I did not connect any of them. Nice. Okay, so this is going to enable if the passive provider is less than 50. Yes, 540. So what this is going to do is this is going to make it so that we only get the amount off the train that we need, or that we kind of desire. So this one is going to be 50. And honestly, like, again, this is pretty much useless. Most of this is going to be useless. These are going to be mostly useless, but you never know when something might happen. And to be like, honestly, if a biter got in and started munching on these provider chests, there's probably no saving this anyways. And again, this is, like, I guess in an ideal world, you would just run out, make the rails, and eventually have a train come in to do some of this stuff. But you know what, like I said, we're here to have fun, right? This one, connect, we want 30 roboports. Landfill, we have a bunch, 500. Same with these, like we basically, like, and honestly, it's kind of the same with the logistics bots. Like they can actually help us resupply if we ever made it out here again, which we probably won't, but um, they can remove the junk from our inventory. Like, there's a lot of different things that can happen out here. Gates, we have 50. You could even set all of these to be less than this. Like, gates, we really only need like maybe 20 total. Walls, we're going to have like 3,000. And again, like with everything that I do, most of this is like purely overkill, like so much overkill. Like these walls are so overkill, it's not even funny. And most of them probably won't even see a biter. Is that going to connect? Oof, just barely. And don't forget to double check your work. My goodness. Okay, walls are done. Pipe. 100. 300. I would say that these are the wall is the most likely thing to be attacked, but the flamethrower turrets are probably the second most likely thing. Laser turrets, 100. Another thing, actually, you could even use these in a pinch to like beef up a section of the wall. I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting any other items like in between. But let's say that you did have a situation where something was just absolutely getting hammered. You could throw down some electric uh, uh, laser turrets. And you could even have situations where, I don't know, maybe something that we get later could come out here and collect some if they needed to. Oh, you know what? We're going to set these to whatever the quantity of the train actually was. Since we are kind of spreading the love. Walls over here would be, what, 1,000? I think that's what we had in here, yeah. No filter, or sorry, no, not a filter, no limit needed on the things that are exporting for us. That's set to 200, yes. Pumps was 1 stack. 1 stack of pumps is 50. And this was, I don't know, 150. That's it. So that's connected. Just again, double check your work, make sure that you actually have these connected and that they are limited. The limiting part is the most important. We do not need things being thrown in for basically no reason. And now we can give this power. And there they go. So this did connect. Awesome. Another thing that you can do is you can, like, once, like, now that we have storage in this area, you can hit L, and this is the logistics network that we were currently in. So you can see this from anywhere in the world, anywhere, like, even if you're on another planet, I can look back home and see, like, hey, what kind of storage do I have? Look at all of the rarity stuff that I have. I have 7 of the rank 2 substations. I bet I could use those somewhere, you know? Stuff like that. I have a pistol that I could get rid of with a recycler later. Lots of wood, my goodness, and coal. Okay, we could eventually do something about some of that stuff. Yes, that is the L key. Quite helpful for us. Let's just get the radar close enough to not be in the way of what we need to show, but... Okay, so how do we call in this chest? So first off, this guy is going to be connected to our decider combinator. And he is going to enable and disable... Okay, sorry, he's going to enable if the piercing round ammo is greater than 0. We are not going to worry about anything else here. We do not necessarily need to set the limit, but we're going to set it to a limit of 1. So how do we then call our piercing round ammo? We're going to send an output of 1 whenever we meet a certain condition. So we have a constant combinator here. We are going to go through each of the items again, except for the bots. Let's see. And we're going to go through and determine, you know what, at what point do we want to call in another train? Landfill, I'm not going to worry about. Really, walls, gates, the turrets, those are the key things that we're chasing. I might set some up for a couple of the other things, just in case, like pipes, maybe. So I'm just going to do the key items. Let's do that. All right, so let's go with the wall first. So if we have less than, let's say 500 walls, I need this to be a minus. Gates, minus 10. Flamethrower turrets, minus 10. Laser turrets, minus 10. We can go for minus 50 with the underground pipe. Big electric power poles, minus, I don't know, 20? I'm just kind of making up numbers as I go. I don't think anything else is really that important. Maybe roboports? Minus 5? Okay, so what's going to happen is I've already mentioned that now all of this, like we have all of this storage and it is on the logistics network. So how can we connect all of these, let's say logistically, to kind of determine what we have? Well, that's another thing that we can use the roboport for. So we can, I don't think this is going to mix any of my signals. It is, so let's use a different color. We'll use green. You know, the only other color. So we're going to add in the green. So, oh, no. All right, whatever. If it's going to do it anyways, I'll just do red. So I have connected both the constant combinator that we just filled out and the roboport to the decider combinator. So if I undo this one, you can kind of see we have 1.1k, or specifically 1,152 walls. Whenever I add this constant combinator back, it now subtracts 500 from that total. So as this gets closer to 500, once it goes under, it will then send out a negative. So you can see that we have no negative values here. So what we're going to do is, if anything, and we could do each, if anything is less than 0, then output the piercing round ammos. And that is going to go out on the green network via the radar. The other thing that means is that somewhere back home, and it really doesn't matter where, just maybe somewhere that we're not going to tear it down, we need to have a radar that is connected to the network as well. So I'm just going to stick a radar in here. We probably already have one somewhere. And I'm going to connect it via the circuit network. Now, we need to be careful too, because this is sending both ways, right? So any signals that we send out via the actual lines will be received by this decider combinator as well. So that is probably messing up, like, for instance, the coal. But whatever, it doesn't matter. These are all... Could have sent this out on red. I guess maybe ideally I would send this out on red. Maybe for future reference. You know what? Let's just do it, because we don't use red on the main line, so... Now if I go over here, we can see... Where did I put that radar? We have a green signal of coal over there, and I don't know, because we don't have anything that can actually connect to it. What? I am not sure why that didn't work. Oh, because I connected it via red. Whatever. There, now we can see the coal. Okay, so that just kind of, shows you and confirms that, yes, this does get broadcast. Yeah, we're just gonna remove that. And do the same over here with this one. We can just leave it on the red. Nope. Okay, so, now as you can see, we have no, need pump jacks. We need to go over here and place some pump jacks, kind of connect them all together, and get them over to that section over there. So I'm gonna get the bots to remove all these trees. Just kind of do what we normally do over here. That's kind of a waste. Do I really care? Not really. I get everything? I believe I did. I'm just gonna paint kind of like where we're going. And that gives me a way to connect everything. Nice. Nope. Okay, so I have one there. And what else do I have? Oh, that's not good. Okay, is that everything? No, this one is not connected. Let's power this up. Let's see if we can get as much as we can. Ooh, that was a good one. And right back into not so good. They gotta fix that. They really, really gotta fix that. Okay, everybody's working. I'm just gonna let the bots take care of this because there's gonna be obvious trees and stuff in the way. So I'm just gonna hold shift and let the bots go. Not too far though. So we can see. Oh, oh, so close. Okay, and now they have fuel. They can take, as you can see in the far right, they can use heavy oil, light oil, or regular oil. You know what? Regular oil is perfectly fine. Okay, so what is that? Can I even get to this? Oh, we have a little biter island. So this is kind of a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because they can just absorb pollution like crazy, and it will never do anything. It's kind of a bad thing because they will just absorb pollution, and you know it uses UPS. Anyways, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is my final episode for this playlist. we I am I still have a lot to do. So what's going to happen is I am going to spend quite a bit of time recreating this at every single choke point. So I will have to figure out how to do that somewhere over here. It would make sense to do it closer to one of these, so like down here, but that's kind of far away. But we have trains, so who really cares? I'll have to figure out stuff over here. Anyways, I'm going to connect a lot of this stuff together, block off our base completely. I am going to beef up the mining, some of which I should have done in the 3-hour episode the other day, or for you guys like an hour, 50-minute episode, where I did some speed tasking. I have a lot of miners that I need to get set up. So, stuff you've seen, have seen how we build a wall. I'm just gonna head back as I talk. This guy can just go. I don't need all of these temporary, geez. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is like I said, I'm gonna fix up the base. I'm gonna make sure that things are more or less perfect before I start the next playlist. The next playlist will pick up where this one leaves off. I will include the save file for this world on my Discord. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to if you really, really want to do achievements, then you probably don't want to use this world and just keep playing whatever world you're playing. Because I am using a lighting mod that will affect your achievements. Fair warning, but I am going to make the save file available to anyone that wants to download it. It will be available on my Discord. I will have blueprints for it on the Discord as well. So, if you ever wanted to just recreate whatever we've done, none of it is snapped to grid. None of it includes roboports or the big electric power pole for the city blocks, but it is easy enough to line up. Yeah, so I am excited to get into the post novice stuff. So I'm also going to take a couple of days. I, I've been, if you count YouTubing as work, then I have basically been working about 120 hours a week for the last probably close to 3 months. So I'm going to take 2 days off. And then we will jump back into the novice stuff. So don't expect any new videos after this one for a couple of days. And I am looking forward to seeing you in the next playlist. I will have an episode 0 where I kind of get everyone caught up, anyone that's just joining, starting the playlist fresh. I'm going to briefly go over some of the things that we've done in this world. Go over maybe the train hub a little bit. Go over the defenses, the science, like how much science per minute or per second are we making. Um, we have a mall. There's a couple of janky pieces. I'm just gonna briefly go over a couple of things. Um, we have dedicated uh, fuel, or the three components of rockets. 3 dedicated items for those. Yeah, lots of that kind of stuff. Okay, so I hope to see you in the next playlist. I am very much looking forward to what we can do in Novice. Like I said, the next one is going to be episode 0, where I kind of briefly go over stuff. And then episode 1, we will create a space platform that will take us to Volcanus. All right, that is going to be it for me. If you've been enjoying my content, well, you know what to do. And join the Discord. Like if you want any of my blueprints, you want to download the save file for this whenever I get it up. Discord is the perfect place to do that. We have some conversations every now and then. I've polled a couple times. I occasionally have a Discord exclusive or a channel update that will, all of my channel updates will be just for Discord. But yeah, come hang out in Discord. Anyways, that's it for me. I will see you in the next episode, and thanks for watching.